Hello there, Aries. Welcome to your tarot reading. So as we come into the last month of this year, I feel like the overwhelming theme that is coming up for many of you here is the fact that, career and your career life and your love life don't exactly coincide the way that it should. I feel like for many of you, the career is taking off, or at least it has always been very stable, very financially lucrative. There's room for growth and expansion all around you. So you can choose to stay, you can choose to leave, but either way, you are a fighter in the professional realm. You're a force to be reckoned with, and I feel like you're always constantly in high demand. And then on the other hand, I just feel like in the relationship sector, there is a lack of clear direction as to where you and your partner are headed and where you and your partner need to be and whether or not you guys are on the same page. And I'm also feeling for some of you as well, having difficulties finding the right relationship partner that can really match your energy, where they kind of chip in when you chip in rather than waiting for you to take charge, waiting for you to take the lead, okay? And I feel like this month, the energy regarding, career not coinciding with relationships, I feel like you are kind of internalizing this energy, meaning that you're really thinking about these issues. You're taking, time to seriously think them through. And some of the things that I feel coming up are, you're wondering, is it me? And you're also wondering, is it something that you've done? Are you somehow inadvertently repelling the right people? Are you somehow inadvertently giving a lot of leeway to the wrong people? And I feel like overall, this is a process that you have to go through, you have to experience so that you can really redefine what type of a relationship you're looking for. And the message that I am feeling here is they're saying, you have your future set out in a certain way, okay? So I feel like a lot of Aries people, even when you were a lot younger, I feel like, somehow the future is already set out. You have a general idea of what you want to be and where you want to go. And you do want a position where you can interact heavily with other people, where you can feel proud of your skills and your expertise and everything that you're bringing to the table. And I'm also feeling as well, it's really hard once you have a plan set up to kind of like create that wiggle room to include another person. So I feel like that might be where the problem lies, because you're going along on your straight path and then the other person is like taking detours and tangents in order to merge into your lane. And you really need to ask yourself, vibrationally, are they on the right page to be with me? Or are they just going along for the ride? That's what it feels like to me. So if your future is already, carved in stone, or at least it's already formed, and you have these stragglers that are just coming into the mix, trying to, weave into your future, you want to ensure that the people that you're dealing with, and this is in all capacity, not just relationships, you want to make sure that you're creating a future with someone that, whose future is already set up as well. Okay, that way you guys can go parallel, but you guys are both moving forward, rather than somebody tagging onto your lane and tagging onto your dreams and your aspirations and making it theirs. And then I feel like there's some resentment from their end that they're at the end of a relationship, they kind of dump on you. And so this is a pattern that I feel it's definitely not from your end, but it is from the relationship partner, where in the past relationships, they feel a little bit kind of like that they had to sideline their own goals, and you didn't ask them to, but they felt like they had to do it in order to keep up the pace with you. And so I want to say slowing down would be an option if the other person is worth it. Slowing down, allowing them to catch up, allowing a little bit of a compromise, that would be good. But at the same time, just make sure that, you know, they have their own goals and their own plans, and that you both are, you know, progressing, not so much together, separate, but together, progressing at the same pace, okay? I'm also feeling as well, there are new changes in your work environment. I'm seeing like a high rise. So I don't know if you're in a really tall building and you have an office or you have a space designated for you. Like I'm seeing designated parking, designated space that is exclusively yours. And from there you feel safe, but you also feel like, is this what I'm meant to do? Is this, you know, are there more opportunities out there? I feel like some of you, there might have been some recent job changes. And I'm also feeling it's a career track. So you have more opportunities to grow, to expand, to, you know, continue to get, I guess like jump vertically into different positions. But I feel like some of you as well are thinking about possibly changing the industry that you're in altogether. So for example, you could be a researcher for a university and you're thinking about, you know, possibly shifting into a different arena, possibly doing like research for a pharmaceutical company, for example. So going from public into private sector, or just, you know, keeping the same profession, but going with a different company. And you're kind of feeling things out, scoping out the territory and seeing what else is available for you. And I'm also sensing as well on the career front, you're picking and choosing who qualifies for what. So I feel like you have a lot of executive power under your command, under your control, and you have a lot of like sway over somebody else's livelihood. That's what it feels like to me. And I don't feel that you're going to, you know, abuse the power. I don't sense that, but I do feel there are a lot of, I want to say a lot of control over the people that are coming to you, that want assistance from you, or that want help from you, or that are working under you. You have a lot of sway, you have a lot of control. You can guide them towards, you know, soaring heights, or you can lead them down a dark path. But I don't feel you abusing your power. I feel like you are, you know, trying your hard to make sure that everyone is able to be self-sufficient and to be independent, so that they don't become a burden to society, a burden to other people, a burden to themselves. So I feel like there's this energy about you uplifting, wanting to uplift people in whatever work capacity that you're in. I feel like the word is wanting to create independence, wanting to break patterns of dependencies, and as well breaking patterns of, you know, codependencies, which is, I feel, playing out in all your relationship sector. It's not just, you know, the people you're working with, but I feel like breaking these patterns where you're not succumbing or you're not falling for the same old traps, okay? You want people to be independent. And I do feel like, you know, clinginess and being too emotionally needy when you're dealing with somebody like that, it kind of aggravates you. And you pride yourself in being able to be very, very strong and very independent, and you expect that same mentality from other people. So you rarely play that role, you know, that victim mentality. And I do feel like there is somebody coming in. I'm sensing it in this spread for this month, where they do have that victim mentality, and you're trying to find a way to I want to say expose it so that they can see it and they can make changes, not to expose it and shame them, okay? So let's go into your reading here. It is a little bit of a dynamic reading because I was getting a lot of messages and cards that flipped out for you when I did the initial meditation. And I relay most of the majority of the messages that, you know, initially. But let me talk a little bit about this month. This is a wealth foundation building type of a month. This is in preparation for what's to come for the next few years, okay? I'm sensing for many of you, there is this sense of like really thinking about your relationship, okay? So this is like a significant love relationship. For those of you in relationships, we're not talking, you know, somebody that you're newly dating or somebody that you're kind of messing around with. We're talking like serious relationships. There is a lot of great emotional rapport, a great emotional connection, great sense of trust between two people. And I'm also feeling as well, a lot of the times, if you've been with somebody and they were around through, the good and the bad, if they were around for you when things were tough, you never forget that person. So in a way, you have a very strong sense of loyalty about you. And you will never forget somebody that helped you out in a time where you were distressed. Some of the other signs, they do forget, unfortunately. And I feel like in your world, the ones that were around, the ones that stuck around, the ones that, rough it out with you, you really value that. And in a way, it can be hard for Aries people to let go of people that they admire, that they look up to, that never did them wrong. And I'm feeling like there is a relationship that is indicative of that. It embodies all the traits where they care about you, you care about them. And no matter what, even if you were to part ways, you would still care about each other. There still would be that emotional, nurturing connection that is really hard to sever. Some of you, this relationship has already left your life. And you're at a point right now where you are trying to move on. You're trying to figure out what else is out there for me, what else is available, and the options, the choices that are on the table. I just feel like they're great, but that sense of, I want to say deep rootedness, that sense of chemistry, that sense of passion, that sense of like really loving somebody on a human level, it's just not really there anymore. And so I would say if you're in this state, I feel like you might be with a partner, but you're looking for somebody that you really look up to, admire, and respect. And honestly, I don't feel that the relationship partner that you're currently with, there's great chemistry. There's, it's a nice relationship. But I just feel like for whatever reason, there might be values differences between the two of you where you have to kind of like curtail your value system. You might not see a lot of things eye to eye with them. You do things in a very independent way. You start things, you get things going, you get things moving. And the other person, I feel like they might be dragging their feet. They might not be as proactive, as goal-oriented, as ambitious. And they don't really know how to start things. So it seems like they need you to be that catalyst to allow them to, to kind of like light that fire under them. And so that's where it becomes a little bit tiring because you don't want to constantly have to, lead the way. It gets tiring. And when we are constantly on the forefront, charging ahead, leading the way, if we make mistakes, it's all on us. It's not on the followers. It's not on the people that are, following you. It's on you. And that can feel over time, if it keeps happening, it can feel very, very tiring. It can feel a little bit scary. And it can also feel like, why isn't my partner, next to me, alongside me, doing these things? Why do I have to take the initiative? And if you are somebody, if you have a lot of strong earth in your chart, and so this is, very strong Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn energy in your chart, I feel like you might subscribe more to the traditional gender roles where you feel like, the masculine energies need to take charge. The feminine energy needs to follow the leader. And so if you are especially... if you consider yourself female and you constantly have to do these things, you might not have much respect for your partner. Despite, the great emotional connection, the trust here, I just feel like over time it can feel very, very tiring and it can feel very scary. Like, what if I make a mistake? And I'm sensing that many of you are constantly charging ahead. And you don't really take time to analyze these things, analyze Like, I like my partner, but something's missing. What is that key element that's missing? Well, I feel that the key element is, are they proactive? Are they taking charge? Are they, alleviating that burden for you? And if not, you need to have these conversations, because I feel like something's missing in a relationship. And I'm also feeling as well, at this point in your life, okay? So you could be, in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s watching this. The world is opening up for you. Opportunities are calling. Travel engagement, seeing friends, expanding outwards, having disposable income to really spend it on luxury goods, luxury things. And your partner might not be on the same page as you financially, where they can afford all of these things. And so while you're planning these things, the partner might be lagging behind financially, or just, motivation wise. And you find yourself kind of like, oh, now I have to do these things with my friends, or I have to do these things alone, because it just feels like they're not on the same level. They might not have the disposable income. They might not have, they might not prioritize these things. They might still be stuck in, still like, taking care of their basic necessities, like their survival. And so it can feel a little bit like the relationship sector can feel a little bit lopsided. And so I'm sensing many of you are, right now thinking about like, what do I need to look for in a relationship partner? So the first 4 cards basically scream out to me, there is some relationship here. It looks to me like it can be very good, but I feel like it has held you back for some years. Okay. Some of you are newly single and you're going through the motions of dating, and you're still using that person from the past with this, great energy, great emotional connection. You care about them even after you both have broken up. You don't have like a single horrible thing to say about them. You care about them, and you're using that as kind of like the barometer, the standard as you go into the world, trying to find suitable relationship partner. You're using that person as like the gauge, the marker. And if somebody happens to have the same qualities as that person, then you're going to be all in and you're going to want to date that next person. But I honestly feel like if you have especially been involved here with an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising, and we have very strong Virgo and Capricorn vibe in this reading, if you've been involved with them and you're kind of using them as a barometer, this is the month where you have some eye-opening insights. And you're going to be like, it wasn't all that great. That person was not on my playing field, okay? That person vibrationally and energetically was not on the same page as you. And yes, there might have been great chemistry. You both really cared about one another. I feel like, the love definitely was there. But it feels to me like it might be a great person, but it's not the greatest person for you. And so moving forward, we have to, create new standards from scratch. As we age, as we get older, as we experience things in life, our perception change, the things that we need change. And so if you're using this person from the past, they might have been appropriate for the past. They might have been a great person, but I just feel like it's a wrong standard of measurement to use to, meet new people. Does that make sense? So take the time this month to start to manifest some things. And I feel like if that's what you feel very stuck in, relationship sector, try to write down qualities of, the person that you want to be with. And I feel like you need to admire the person that you're with. You need to look up to and admire the person that you're with. So no matter what that means to you, some people admire strength, emotional or physical. Other people admire wisdom. I feel like you're kind of like dating, expending your energy outwards, but you're not finding that person that you truly admire. Somebody that, has either great insights, great wisdom, or even they're stable and they they always follow through. Okay, so I feel like whatever the standard is, you need to redefine it, and you need to, you know, write down these qualities so that you're not just fumbling around in the dark trying to find the next person, or you're not using outdated standards to measure the next person with. Okay, so that's pretty much like the relationships. Let me talk about the other things that are happening in your spread. What I do feel here, this is the career and work card, okay? And this is basically skills that you have spent many years accumulating, learning, becoming an expert in. So I feel like some of you are kind of like an expert in your field, and you're being paid adequately what you are worth. I rarely see Aries people staying in a dead-end job or staying in jobs that don't appreciate them. So I feel like you are where you need to be financially and professionally. This is a card about, you know, accumulating further experience, and I feel like some of you might have already maxed out. Some of you are thinking like, I'm not really learning anything anymore. Everybody's coming to me, consulting me, distracting me from my work. So I need a new environment. And some of you might be thinking, flirting with, you know, looking at opportunities elsewhere. Some of you as well could potentially be recruited by another organization, another company. And it's like outside of this company, recruited from outside. So I feel like fast communication coming in here. And they're going to lay some options in terms of positions at your feet. And they're also going to talk to you possibly about salary as well. And I feel like at this point, those options look okay. I mean, they look like, you know, they have a lot of room for growth and a lot of room for expansion, but you're not really sure like if you're ready to leave the comfort and the stability of this current work environment to jump into the next. But I do feel you're going to go ahead with them. Okay. So, you know, as adventurous and as, daring as you are, a lot of the times going into a new work environment where you might not know anybody, where you might not have already a friend there, where you might have to start over, it can be very exciting. But I do feel that Aries, you like to have an ally or a comrade, or, you know, somebody there that you already know. So the process can feel a little bit frightening. In other areas of your life, I feel like you're very daring, but this is something right now, you're at a point where you're concerned financially. And I also feel this also reflects an energy where you might have a lot of expenditures, you know, mortgage, housing, bills, family obligations as well. There's a lot of financial expenditures. But what they're saying is these financial expenditures are not real. You definitely can cut corners and curb your spending so that what you really need to live and to survive on is a lot less than you think. Okay? And I'm also feeling many of you are at a point where you are retired and contemplating your next adventure. Your mind is still very restless. And I do sense there's an element here about, you know, having some people coming to you for contract work, having people coming to you to solicit you to do, like, you know, I'm seeing like creative projects as well, publishing, part-time work, freelance work, or even, you know, consultation work. And I feel like it's going to bring a lot of financial prosperity, and you might have more than one option on the table for you. And so do with that as you please, because I feel like financially things are going to be very lucrative. Okay, so say yes to new opportunities always. And I also feel as well, for some of you, if you are waiting, if you're waiting for, like if you've gone on a job interview, if you've applied for a loan, if you've signed on something and you're waiting on the decision of other people, the wait is going to take a little bit longer than you would expect. And I feel like you would get some feedback towards the end of this month. And it has nothing to do with your skills. It's just a lot of people are applying for the same thing. So they have a lot of applications, that they're looking at. And there's also this element here about there's a lot of backed up work around the holiday season. So everybody's busy. Everyone is like scrambling to come up with funds. If you're applying for a loan, if you're applying for grants, if you're applying for funding, and it's, you know, they're not really sure how much money they have. And then likewise, if you're applying for a job and you're waiting for feedback, there's a lot of backed up work in the organization. So they're going to take their time, and it's not like they have forgotten about you. You're not forgotten, nor it doesn't seem to me like, you know, they don't want you. It seems to me like they have a lot of logistical things they need to take care of from their end. And then there's going to be this wave, this flood of communication coming, especially the last week of this month. Okay, so I would say like around after the 25th of December, okay, after the Christmas time frame. All right, so hang in tight, and I hope the reading has been helpful for you guys. I wish you all the best. Enjoy your holiday season, and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye bye.